for debate, Alexis, you asked if you had to select a Wild player to be up for the Hart Trophy, who would you pick? Now, again, I need to preface this for outside fans who have leaked their way into our podcast viewerships. You know who you are. We're not saying that these players are up for the Hart or they deserve to beat out Auston Matthews for anything. We're saying on the Minnesota's team, who is the Hart Trophy candidate. Let's just be very, very clear.
It's just for
about
fun.
Those things.
Yeah, I don't think. Do you think any Wild player actually would be nominated this year or not?
You know, if they make a deep run, I guess if Kevin Fiala, so I'm just going to lead this in. All right, so it's Kaprizov, Fiala, and Zuccarello. Kevin Fiala would be my guy if he continues this heater, which seems to never end. Like an 8-game point streak is something, 9 goals in that 8-game point streak. Again, we're recording this Friday, pre-Seattle game, pre-Sunday at where they're at, Carolina,
Nashville,
something. Yeah, one of those places. Yeah, so I think, you know, as crazy as it feels to go against a player like Kaprizov, who we've talked time and time again is the MVP of this team, Kevin Fiala really is making it hard for a lot of things to go against him this year. So my vote would be Kevin Fiala.
Interesting. I thought for sure you were going to go Kirill, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take a risk and go with Kevin. That was going to be my pick too, because I'm like, she'll probably pick Kirill, which is fair. And so I was totally prepared to make an argument, but I'm interested that we are on the same page here, because again, it seems like Kirill is the obvious answer, right? Where you'd say like, look at what he's done. He's been a huge part of this team. He's on the top line. Right. He's incredible. He's getting national recognition, which we all know as Wild fans that's pretty rare to have a Wild player stand out in national media and for national fans. But I really think that Kevin Fiala would deserve this kind of nomination again if a Wild player were to get picked. I think Kevin Fiala definitely has a reason to be thought about in this way. And if you look at his like history of stats, it is the most goals he's had and it's the most success he's had with the Minnesota Wild. So that a couple things to take into consideration there. Second of all, I think something that's been touted about this Minnesota Wild team is their depth and their ability to score on more than one line and their ability to have any guy go out there and do what they need to do to get the job done. And that good second line of Kevin Fiala, Matt Boldy, and Freddie Gaudreau has been a huge, huge reason for that. So I do think that although this team would be not the same without Kirill Kaprizov, I think you've got a fair argument to make for Kevin Fiala. And this is the kind of guy that Fenton said he was going to be. He has finally become that player, and he's lost some of that inconsistency and that immaturity that he had when he first came here. And he's really turned into this well-rounded hockey player that you really value on your team, to the point where Wild fans are having a meltdown over the fact of we might not be able to pay him in the offseason. That's how big of an impact he's made this season. So I think I would say Kevin Fiala too, but I have no qualms about anybody arguing a guy like Kirill Kaprizov. And again, I think I included Matt Zuccarello because Jesse, let me know what you think about this. But I really feel like Zuccarello, this is the reason I included him. He's been such an underrated player on this team this year. I mean, he's definitely gotten his fair share of attention, but I think, you know, we love to talk about Kirill. We love to talk about Kevin Fiala, which for good reason. They've had exceptional seasons, but so has Zuccarello. And I think, again, you could make an argument for that without him, this team is a very, very different team. You could argue that Kirill is a different player without him. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could look at that and say, man, this team wouldn't be the same without him. Do you think that, you know, he deserves some recognition in this kind of conversation, or do you really think it's between Kirill and Kevin?
I mean, I absolutely agree that he deserves more recognition, more praise for what he's done. I don't think he likes it. I think similar to Kaprizov and Fiala. I mean, none of the hockey players like it, right?
Yeah.
It's not a thing that they like to do. You know, but we talked about this last year too. MVP is like, how much of a game changer are you really? Like, how much of an impact? And while he is making an impact, I think Kaprizov would likely have this success with a lot of different players, right? Like, I think Zuccarello is having an uncharted season without question. He's breaking records in the assist column for the franchise as well. I just don't know. For some reason, there's something that just slightly holds me back from putting him quite in that category. And I think it's because similar to a lot of these huger major, I quote that's a good one. A lot of these major awards, it's like, you have to be tough. It has to, like, those boxes have to be tight because it's not something meant for everybody. The Hart Trophy is not something that you're supposed to have a whole bunch of players in the conversation. It's the elite of the elite of the elite. And I think he's only like 2 elites instead of the 3. So that's
fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, sweet. Let us know what you guys think who your Minnesota Wild Hart trophy would be. Alexis, you think Auston Matthews gets it this year? Does Toronto need to get out of that first round for a change?
Toronto, man, they got their butts whooped by the Bolts last night. I definitely think Auston Matthews is probably your guy. I mean, he's had an incredible season. It's really hard to argue against that at this point. And that's not even coming. I'm not even just saying that as a biased Auston Matthews super fan, but I really think that he has been the heart and soul of that team this year. But I agree. I don't know. We got to see what they do in the playoff. The Maple Leafs and the Minnesota Wild handshake on playoff exits, because they a lot of times have these good teams. Maple Leafs have had more superstars than the Wild in their history, but man, they struggle come playoff time. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's tough to argue against Auston Matthews being the nominee for the Hart Trophy.
I was going to say people are going to come for you for comparing Toronto and Minnesota in any realm.
Yeah, sorry. Maple Leafs fans everywhere are offended after that. I apologize. You guys are better than us. You got all the superstars. I get it. Go do something. I'm rooting for you. I'm your fan. I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm a Maple Leafs fan. They're my backup team.
Alexis loves all NHL teams, guys. All right, let's just
all of them.
All of them. We're hockey fans.